It was no secret that 20-year-old Carlos Alcaraz was already a fantastic player heading into the Wimbledon final. Alcaraz, after all, in the 2022, he became the youngest player to reach #1 in the men's rankings, capping that amazing feat with his first Grand Slam title at the US Open. But this win, outlasting Novak Djokovic, arguably the greatest tennis player of all time, handing him his first loss on Wimbledon's center court in over a decade, and doing it from a set down just over a month after losing to the Serb at the French Open, felt special. It felt like Carlos Alcaraz had truly arrived. Alcaraz defeating Djokovic 1-6, 7-6, 6-1, 3-6, 6-4 to lift the title. This now begs the question: after many false dawns recently, have we really now seen a true passing of the torch in men's tennis? So Ricardo, you love tennis. The thing is, I don't know if you love tennis more than track and field or cricket more than tennis and track and field, but the question goes to you.
Yeah, I just love sports in general, but I don't think the torch has been passed just yet. Novak Djokovic, even at 36 years old, just took 20-year-old Carlos Alcaraz to 5 sets in the Wimbledon final. In fact, going into that match, Novak Djokovic was the favorite to win the title, so some would look at it as a slight upset, even though tennis lovers, tennis fans understood that Carlos Alcaraz would test him. I think there was the general feeling going into the Wimbledon final that Novak Djokovic would have enough. Novak Djokovic is not going to go away, Mariah, after this defeat. In fact, he is likely to come back stronger with the US Open only just over a month away. So no, the torch is not quite passed just yet. But what we have, and men's tennis is so blessed to have this generational battle, if you might, because what is happening here is that Novak Djokovic was now, as far as I am concerned at least, established himself as the greatest player of all time. They call him the GOAT. And you have Carlos Alcaraz, this 20-year-old upstart who has come to the fore, and with it he comes with aspects of Roger Federer, Rafael Nadal and Novak Djokovic himself, and then he puts his own personality and style with all of that, and you get this absolutely amazing player to watch, exciting player to watch, and you get to see him go up against the best ever, and it's not a one-off, and it won't last just 9 or 10 seconds.
Well, that's my concern. Because
this is likely to happen for the next year or two, because I think Novak Djokovic will remain close to the top of the sport and be challenging for Grand Slam titles for at least another 2 years.
Ricardo, I've seen this game many times, and mainly in women's tennis, where a youngster does really well, beats somebody who's performing at the top of their game. It's a one-off or a two-off, if I'm to say that, and then you never hear about that youngster again. One, I want to think maybe the glory gets to their head. Two, maybe the pressure gets to them. Do you feel Carlos Alcaraz, from what we've seen from him so far, has what it takes to withstand the pressure? And I speak about the pressure of injuries, the pressure of competing at this level, the pressure of just the being at this level against the best, and people having a lot to say to him now.
So you referenced women's tennis, right? So I'll deal with that, where I think what has happened with women's tennis, because with the exception of a Serena Williams, who dominated for some time, there has really been no dominant figure at the top of the women's game for some time. And so you will have a lot of different players coming through and winning tournaments and winning Grand Slam tournaments, and sometimes out of the blue. What we've had in men's tennis is tremendous consistency at the top of the game. So when Carlos Alcaraz comes through, he doesn't win because the best are not there. He has proven over time, by reaching #1 in the world last year, by winning the US Open last year, even in the absence of Novak Djokovic, but by beating Novak Djokovic, by beating Rafael Nadal at Masters 1000 events, by turning up this year and holding on to his #1 ranking. He had a letdown at the French Open. And this is where I think this kid is special. And this is where I think he is more than capable of handling the pressure that you speak about, or the perceived pressure, because I get the impression that this young kid is just fearless. He had a letdown at the French Open just over a month ago. He went into that French Open semi-final against Novak Djokovic as the favorite.
Yeah.
And just over a set into the match, he started cramping. There are many who feel that the pressure of the moment got to him on that day. But to rebound from that and come into this Wimbledon final, and let's put this into a little bit more context, Mariah. Novak Djokovic blew him away in the opening set of that Wimbledon final. And at 6-1 in the first set, it was 5-love at one stage, I think, looking as if it was going to end up as a 6-love blowout opening set. I think there were many who thought, oh my gosh, we're seeing it again. Here is Novak Djokovic, who is going to be teaching a lesson to another youngster who is trying to come through. We didn't have that. What we had was Carlos Alcaraz finding a way to fight back. And here's where I think was probably the most pivotal point of that Wimbledon final. In the second set, at 6-all in the second set, 4-all in the tiebreak, I think it was, Carlos Alcaraz had just missed a drop shot and he went for another one and he got it.
Yeah.
And those are the type of situations that Djokovic has dominated. Going into that second set tiebreaker, by the way, Djokovic had gone 14 tiebreakers in Grand Slam matches without losing one. At the French Open, he won 6 without committing even one unforced error. And Carlos Alcaraz was able to break that. This kid is the real deal. He's going to be around for a long time to come. And now we talk about Novak Djokovic being the GOAT. But if this youngster, can stay healthy for a long time, then who knows? In 10, 15 years, we might be talking about him as the GOAT. And he has all the tools to be that and so much more. When I was producing last year, Mariah, quickly, because the producer is now rushing me, which I would have been doing last year, I said that Carlos Alcaraz will win at least 10 Grand Slam titles, and this was after his US Open victory. I am confident still that he will win at least 10, but I think he can win so much more.
Yeah, well, I can't wait to see. On the women's side, though, history was made as well, with Marketa Vondrousova becoming the first unseeded player to win the title. Her stunning journey culminated on Saturday with a 6-4, 6-4 victory over 6th seed Ons Jabeur. So you had a lot to say about the men. What are you thinking about the women now?
Well, what I'm thinking is Ons Jabeur did not play the way I thought she would. She didn't come out with the type of intensity and belief. Her body language, just overall attitude was negative, which is not what I would have expected from her, especially because she had the experience of playing in the Wimbledon final last year, playing in the US Open final last year. She comes into this final as the favorite, and I just thought she would look a lot hungrier than she did.
Yeah.
I almost want to say she choked Ons Jabeur, but Vondrousova played brilliantly like she did throughout the tournament, played with poise. This is a youngster who made the French Open final some years ago, got injured, she's gotten married, found great happiness, worked her way back, and here she is, a Wimbledon champion. There's the secret, Mariah.
Thanks for that.
Get
I'll
married.
definitely take your advice. It's break time, though. We'll be back, and it will be interactive time, so he'll have the opportunity to tell me more about getting married. Break time.
Stay with SportsMax on YouTube and follow us on all social pages for updates, news, and entertainment.